Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you so much for checking us out here at Sledgehammer TV tonight for your official Monday Night Raw review. It is Monday, December the 18th, 2017, and I am absolutely drained. I am physically exhausted from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, and we are here to talk about it like we always do, right here and right now, on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. So, let's do it. Shall we?
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much once again for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me, as always, is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball, and we are here to bring to you our coverage of Monday Night Raw, which came to us live from Providence, Rhode Island, and if we're being honest, I wish it didn't. Tonight is one of those nights where I wish Raw did not exist on the face of the earth. By the time we got to the 9 o'clock hour, I was bored to tears. I was struggling to stay awake at the dinner table. I wasn't even sitting comfortably on my couch, where I very often get sucked into the pillows and drifted into sleep by Monday Night Raw, missing often 10 to 20 minutes at a time, having to go back and re-watch it when I wake up so that I can bring to you the coverage that I bring you of these ridiculous and god-awful shows that we have been getting for the last month. I don't understand how they are looking at the script each and every week and saying this is okay when it's clearly a copy of the week before. We have not gotten anything new in like a month. We've seen the same pairings of the same people in the same scenarios week in and week out, and it's goddamn exhausting. Look at my face. I am exhausted. Not just from the day of work that I put in, but from this friggin' show. It just sucked the life right out of me. So that when we got to that 3-hour mark, and they finally got to the whole point of tonight's show, obviously, it was centered around the big announcement, right? It all led to the big announcement that everybody already knew because they've been talking about it for the last 6 months. The announcement of the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match. And the way they went about this announcement was unnecessary. It wasn't really all that bad as far as, you know, the action between the girls and Nia Jax coming out, and then Paige and the Apsa Shitson just, you know, taking out Nia Jax, and then Stephanie's music hits, everybody decides to stop, right? And then she makes the announcement that we all knew was coming. Now, I am not one of those that is against the Women's Royal Rumble at all. However, there are some very big issues that I take with it happening right now. There are some very big problems with this planning of the Women's Royal Rumble, and it all starts with the fact that they are rushing this Women's Revolution. They have found that phrase, they have coined that phrase, they've changed it now to evolution apparently, whatever it is that they're calling it. They put their pedal to the metal, they put their foot on the gas, and they will not let go, and they are trying to just burn through every big time moment they can have for these girls. Like they said tonight in that overly dramatic and overly sentimental and definitely unnecessarily pandering piece that Stephanie put us through at the end. You know, we had the first Women's Hell in a Cell, which was unnecessary, and it did not come off very well, and I hope to never see one again. And then we had the first ever Women's Money in the Bank, which I actually didn't mind, and I did enjoy. I didn't like the winner, but it turned out alright, but they're not doing anything with it, so what does it matter anyway? Right? We had the first little tease of Carmella doing a cash-in just last week, but it didn't happen. So we are obviously just rushing through all of these milestone moments, which effectively is making them not feel as special as they really could. Think about if they were to take the time and care and nurture this idea and allow it to grow and develop and happen at the proper time in wrestling history. Now is not the time. Now it is just being used as a political agenda by the McMahons, as a press puff piece to get eyes on the WWE, to get all these women's groups on the side of the WWE, and I am not opposed to any of that. It's just sacrificing an event and a match that means so much to so many. And, you know, I'm not on the side where you say it takes away from the main Royal Rumble, you know, the men's Royal Rumble. See, that's where the problem, I think, lies, is that they're supposed to just be the Royal Rumble, right? And now they're going to have the men's Royal Rumble and the women's Royal Rumble, which I guess is okay, but, you know, I understand what people say. It's kind of taking away from it, but I don't really see it so much that way. I don't know why it's such like a dividing factor amongst so much of the community. Like, we have the women's champion and we have a men's champion, we have the Money in the Bank. Like, it's a natural progression of things, so I understand it and I'm not against it, but now is not the time for it. Rushing through all these things is not doing them any favors. Case in point, even with all the call-ups that they have done in the last month and a half or so, they've filled out the women's division with Mae Young Classic superstars, NXT superstars, all these random nonsensical call-ups, these groupings that look ridiculous, right? So they're doing this to fill out the roster. And then, of course, they're going to reach out probably to a few legends. We're going to have some surprises pop up, which is, you know, one of the cool factors. Maybe we'll get to see some of the ladies we haven't seen in a while, and maybe they'll actually get to wrestle and do something cool. Who knows? Who knows? But even with all of this called up talent, how many of these girls actually are deserving of even the possibility of being in a main event at WrestleMania? You mean to tell me that Sarah Logan deserves to be in the main event of WrestleMania because she's won this Royal Rumble, because she's been randomly placed in there because there is nobody else? You mean to tell me Ruby Riott should be in the main event of WrestleMania now? Go down the list. Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke deserves a shot, deserves a chance to win a shot at the title? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, these girls deserve this chance? They deserve this opportunity? No! They've been here for 3 seconds. What makes them deserve to be in the Women's Royal Rumble? This is where my problems come in with it. It comes in with the wrestling and the logic and the storytelling, and I don't like where they're going to go with it. You're going to put Asuka in the Royal Rumble? I don't see that as... I mean, great. It would be one of the things you could add to her, you know, to her accolades. But more than likely, she's going to get eliminated because they'll always use that, well, Asuka's never been defeated thing. Like, you don't get defeated if you're thrown out of the Royal Rumble, so technically you didn't lose. So they could always use that loophole and not have Asuka even win. And I'm very afraid of that. Alexa Bliss being involved in this whole segment at the end of the night makes zero sense. She's the woman's champion. She should have absolutely zero interest in a women's Royal Rumble, and they failed in this aspect because that's where the obviously heel Alexa Bliss should have came out and been like, whoa, wait a minute, Royal Rumble, you're going to give some random nobody just some shot at a title like I was trying to bring to your attention just a second ago? You know, that could have been her whole platform, and she could have went right down the list. She could have even threw Paige in there. Paige has just come back. Why is she going to be in a Royal Rumble just because she's been the champion before? Like, that's an angle she could use, and she could just run down each and every single person. Mickie James hasn't won on TV in weeks. Nia Jax is my best friend. I don't want her to be able to have a shot against me. Alicia Fox is nobody. You know, have her go down that route. It would at least make for an interesting storytelling moment and an interesting storyline leading up to this Royal Rumble, but they don't even see what they have. They don't even see what they have. They just want to just do it. Let's just do it and get it done. Instead of saying, well, let's play with this. Let's have fun. Let's let it develop over time. If you wanted to rush it and do it now, you still could have made it more entertaining instead of having all these women in the ring at the end of a Monday Night Raw with Stephanie McMahon in there giving this ridiculous speech and then doesn't get the reaction she wants from the crowd and has to pretty much beg for a yes chant. She says, if ever there was a time for a yes chant, it's now. Because nobody was really caring and nobody was getting behind it, and I'm sure they all thought that as soon as this announcement was made, everybody was going to bust out into the yes chants. Or else, what other reason would Stephanie McMahon want to call for a yes chant? Why couldn't she have just started up a new chant? Women's wrestling, maybe. Why are you stealing Daniel Bryan's thing for every little thing now? You're claiming his catchphrase as a WWE trademark for anything now? For everything that the fans want? We're just going to do yes? That's supposed to be reserved for Daniel Bryan. Or at the very least, reserved for SmackDown Live, the show that the man's on. I know it's transcended wrestling at this point because Daniel Bryan went away. But Daniel Bryan's back now. Let's give it some respect. It's just like doing the what chants for everybody. Like, it's just, Stone Cold is gone. Like, it's nostalgia, I get it. But at the same time, it just doesn't make sense to say these things anymore. The CM Punk chants. The yes movement does not apply to the women's revolution. It should have its own slogan. And the fact that the fans did not bust out into that and you had to ask them to do so is a sign already that this maybe is not the right time to be doing this. Alexa Bliss's involvement is probably just due to the lack of superstars, which is one of the reasons not to do this right now. None of this makes sense. The crowd didn't really give a shit too much. It may not have seemed that way, but I seen it. I watched it back twice. The crowd, I felt like some of the crowd was booing the actual announcement. But, you know, it has its upside. You know, it's great to see the women breaking barriers and doing all these things. It's just being rushed. And I can't stress this enough. Now is not the time. There is not enough great talent to pull this Royal Rumble off, and I'm afraid it's going to be a giant botch fest, and it's going to work against the women. As great as it is leading up to it, are they going to be able to deliver on par with what people expect from a Royal Rumble? Imagine them doing this maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, when all the girls that have been called up and all the girls that are currently right now down in NXT are up here and established. Ember Moon, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Nikki Cross. And then you have Mandy Rose maybe seasoned for a couple of years. The rest of the girls that just came up, Ruby Riott and them, everybody's got some experience now. Everybody's made a little bit of a name for themselves. You could weed out the top stars from the bottom stars, and then you could really play with a Royal Rumble. What are we going to get from this Women's Royal Rumble? Guarantee you the Final Four are going to be the top 4 women in the division. But are the champions going to be involved? I still don't know enough. We still have to see what the SmackDown Live women have to say about all of this. And if we see the exact same segment again from Monday night to Tuesday, it's just going to be sad and desperate, and it's going to make everything look even worse. I hope they just address it and say, hey, our women are in it, and that's the end of it. They don't need to do a whole women's rumble or anything like that with all the women getting involved. Like, no, the announcement was made. We're rolling the Royal Rumble. Great. Let's just move on with the storylines and keep the show moving. But I'm afraid that's not what's going to happen. The rest of Monday Night Raw tonight, as eventful as that was, and as great as that announcement might be, was absolutely atrocious. absolutely atrocious. The outside of the Return of the Revival, and oddly enough, I did enjoy and am oddly intrigued at what's to come as far as Heath Slater and Rhino are concerned. But that whole segment is the only thing outside of Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt that had my interest at all tonight. 20 plus minutes of Jason Jordan to open up Monday Night Raw is not going to get anybody excited. You know, I actually started Raw kind of late. I sat down on my couch and my daughter wanted to watch her favorite show. Vampirina on the Disney Channel right now is her favorite show. And you know what? I gave in. I said, you know what? We can watch your show. It's only a half an hour. I'll fast forward the commercials and I'll catch up. And boy, was I ever so pleased to have made that decision when I was being put through this match between Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan in place of Samoa Joe to start Monday Night Raw. I fast forwarded through the majority of this match, and I know I made the right decision when about halfway through, maybe at the 10-minute mark of this match, I said, let me check in and see what's really going on. And I unpaused it and I allowed it to play to hear the crowd chanting, "This is boring." And said, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And continued to fast forward to the end of the match. I don't know what happened. I don't care what happened at all. It made no sense. All that time given to Jason Jordan in that match was unnecessary, and I could care less. I'm not even going to go back and watch it. You guys, you can sit here and tell me till you're blue in the face that Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins threw down in a classic. I'll tell you to your face you were lying, and I watched it at 2 times the speed. It was not good. The crowd was bored. I was bored. I was barely able to keep my eyes open by 9 p.m. What does that tell you? The show started off with the announcement of the triple threat match for the Royal Rumble that nobody wants to see, involving Kane. Why Kane? It's got me flipping pens off my desk here. So mad they get me so friggin' fired up. Amply enough, I guess, fired up from Kane. I'm not trying to play on words here, but it's just so stupid. So stupid. None of this makes sense. Nobody wants to see Braun Strowman lose this match. Nobody wants to see Kane in this match. And nobody, I think, even wants to see Brock Lesnar still as the Universal Champion. So no matter what happens in this match, everybody loses. Especially us. Nothing could be called the saving grace of that segment. Who cares? Even Paul Heyman came out. Who cares? It's all leading to something none of us want. So who gives a shit? Enzo Amore. I've never hated him more in my life than I hated him tonight. And I'm going to be fair, and, before I bring the hammer down on his ass, I used to enjoy Enzo Amore. I used to enjoy his shtick, and I'm not one who's opposed to a braggadocious, loudmouth character. I was, very known. I loved CM Punk, but this guy needs to learn to shut his mouth. Or if he doesn't want to shut his mouth, he needs to have a modicum of professionalism and respect, at least for the business. And shut your mouth for 2 minutes so the guys that are paid to be there by the microphone can do their fucking job. And not have to sit there and listen to you ramble and talk over Booker T and argue with everything everybody is saying. And not once did one word out of his mouth make any kind of sense. Talking about his friggin' electric bills and leaving his TV on and having nobody to take care of his house. Like, what the hell is he talking about? We got a match going on with a member of his Zo Train going up against Cedric Alexander, one of the best cruiserweights in the world today. And he wants to talk about his fucking house. And talking about his shoes and that he's the best and his breath is the best. And what am I listening to? The only one thing he said that made me remotely amused was his little knock on Michael Cole and his Christmas joke. His little Christmas joke. What's worse than getting a lump of coal in your stocking on Christmas? Getting Michael Cole in your stocking. I was like, alright, you get a point for that one. You made me, kind of smirk and chuckle. I like that. Anything anti-Michael Cole is always good with me on this channel. But good God, he just would not shut his mouth. And it took away from the match to the point where I wasn't even paying attention to the match. I was more focused on trying to tune his ass out. I'm sure a lot of the stuff he had to say, you guys maybe found entertaining. I'm sure he was. But the fact that his voice was ripping my eardrums so consistently for so long, and he didn't even allow any of the people at the commentary desk, not Corey Graves, not Michael Cole, not even a second to actually do their job. And then when they were trying to take back the booth from him, he would automatically go on attack and just be like, I'm the champion, I can do what I want. I don't have to be quiet. I don't have to relax. I don't have to settle down. Yeah, you do. You're on live national television. This segment is not about you. You're supposed to be talking about what's going on in the ring, and you want to talk about your fucking TV being on in your house. This is the Cruiserweight division, everybody. Absolutely ridiculous. The match itself, I couldn't tell you whether or not it was alright because I didn't care enough to watch, like I said. Enzo Amore would finally go away because apparently he would get a tweet from Nia Jax. That's a whole nother situation that I don't even want to get into. We're going to have to, but I don't want to. And Drew Gulak would lose. And we are going to have Cedric Alexander taking on Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight Championship. Who cares? Who cares? Alicia Fox finally gets her rematch against Asuka. She didn't deserve the first match against Asuka. And the fact that she was able to, once again, get any offense in at all is just absolutely ridiculous. I know the match only went 2.5 minutes. I'm not going to get too bent out of shape. But if you go back and watch that match, you can't tell me that watching her wrestle is not like watching Elaine from Seinfeld dancing. She can't friggin' move. This girl can't even throw and execute the simplest of moves, a big boot. Every single time she went to do something to Asuka tonight, she fell on herself. It's like her shoelaces were untied. Spasming out with every movement. All Elaine, man, I'm telling you. Terrible. All those women that were in the ring at the end of this night, and that's the best you got for Asuka, 3 matches in a row with Alicia Fox. Every single time, giving Alicia Fox at least a little bit of something so that she don't look like such a slouch. But by allowing her any offense at all, you're making her look even worse because she's terrible. 10 years, 10 plus years in the wrestling business. How do you not even pick up how to deliver a big boot? You've got big, long, lanky legs. All you have to do is stick your leg up in the air. I could do that. I'm 5'7", 205 pounds. I could lift my leg up in the air and pretend to kick you in the face. She cannot do that. She couldn't take a simple arm roll. She was supposed to get locked up into some arm submission. She rolled through it, and Asuka didn't know what to do. And then she was trying to get to the outside of the ring. It was just awkward and botchy. And Asuka would finally dispatch this witch and get this Fox off this television. I can't take it. I can't take it. Finn Balor gets booked in a handicap match against the Miz Taraj. Why are we still doing this? Why? I'm here to tell you why. That's why you watch this show. This whole segment was nothing more than an advertisement for 205 Live tomorrow night. Finn Balor would fall to the Miztourage, which already in and of itself is as stupid as it comes. It's an absolute abomination. It's a disgrace. Finn Balor could beat Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel with both hands tied behind his back. He's that good. But you're not treating him that way. You're treating him like a mid-card jobber. Getting bested by two even lower on the ladder mid-card jobbers. Only to be saved by an unknown cruiserweight. Virtually unknown to the WWE Universe. Nobody reacted that much to the arrival of Hideo Itami. Hideo Itami is the most underwhelming NXT superstar that has come through the Performance Center, in my opinion, since its inception. He came in with all this fanfare, and he's done nothing but get injured over and over, and I know that's not his fault, and he was never truly able to gain momentum. But he's nothing. He's never been an NXT World Heavyweight Champion. He's never been anything, as far as I know. Maybe he was a tag team champion. I don't remember. I have to go and look back, because I was not a fan of Hideo Itami. I think he won the Dusty Rhodes Classic with Finn Balor. That's how he kind of got introduced to the universe. I don't care about Hideo Itami. The WWE Universe doesn't care about Hideo Itami. His performance tonight might have got you a little bit interested. He was great, and it was good to see him get that exposure on Monday Night Raw. It would be great if they were able to make something of him before they did this, but the simple fact that he's debuting tomorrow night on 205 Live because he is a member of the Cruiserweight division made this whole segment nothing more than an advertisement for that. Nice use of Finn Balor. Great. Let's just use him to get over 205 Live. Terrible. Dean Ambrose apparently goes down with an injury. I think it's a kayfabe injury at the end of this 6-man encounter that I did not want to watch. First of all, I think they may have purposely made this show extra bad to make you maybe miss Roman Reigns. Because Roman Reigns, we know, was not here tonight. And in his place, we didn't get somebody new. We didn't get somebody special. We didn't get somebody decent. We got somebody that already bored the crowd to tears and put everybody to sleep in the first half an hour of this show. Jason Jordan would be back in action tonight as an honorary member of the Shield, going up against Samoa Joe and the Bar. And just the simple fact that Jason Jordan was back in this match made me not give a flying fuck about this match. This was going to be nothing. I already knew going into this that somehow the Bar and Joe were going to gain the advantage, take out the Shield, take out Jason Jordan, so that inevitably this whole night is going to lead to Roman Reigns coming next Monday and getting his revenge on Christmas night on all these guys for beating up his Shield brethren. That's what this was. Setting the table for Roman Reigns. Giving him something nice to munch on when he comes back for Christmas. Giving him a nice Christmas gift wrapped in a bow. We're going to give you Samoa Joe again and the Bar again, and you'll probably single-handedly take out all three of them. Even though these three schmucks tonight couldn't get the job done. Dean Ambrose, however, would take an awkward bump at the end of this match as Seth Rollins would come flying over the top rope doing a suicide dive on top of everybody to the outside, and it seems as if he may have caught maybe a stinger or something. I don't know. He just looked to have tweaked his arm in some manner, and then they would go on and further this injury as we would come back to the action after they would lose this match due to Dean Ambrose's injury. We would come back after this and we would see Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins in the back getting attended to by the medical crew, and then they would be jumped by Samoa Joe and the Bar, effectively, like I said, making it even more special when Roman comes to get his revenge. I didn't really care about this either. The Revival returned, like we said, to face Slater and Rhino, and this was great. This was great for me. It was short and sweet. I was happy to see the Revival back. They are one of the greatest tag teams you will ever see. If you are not familiar with them and you did not get to see them in their first minor run because it was only about 2 or 3 weeks long and these guys unfortunately both got injured, they are both back, ready to go. There was a little bit of ring rust. Like I said, we are always honest here. They could use a little bit more tuning up, but that's to be expected after being, off the road so long and having such a layoff. They got to get back in shape, and tonight is their first match back on TV, and it was a little rusty, but they did just fine, hitting Heath Slater with the Shatter Machine to end this match. The Revival starts their momentum and gets the win. Fantastic. I think the bigger story here, and I might be all alone in this, you can let me know in the comments below if you like, if you enjoyed this as well. Heath Slater and Rhino have always had a great chemistry. Their team was the first ever SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, and that was about it. I don't think they held it very long, maybe a week or two, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe a month at best. But the team was used much like Breezango is being used right now. They were just good for comedy skits and getting a quick laugh backstage. So they are confronted in the back by Kurt Angle, who tells them they need to toughen up. And they immediately take this as a threat that possibly they might be losing their jobs. The new year is coming up. Maybe they're going to clean house. Heath Slater's flipping out. I got kids. I need my job. It's Christmas. What are we going to do? Rhino's like, listen, calm down. Kurt Angle just needs you to toughen up. And he thinks he's got the perfect idea to toughen up Heath Slater. And I think I am on board with whatever this is going to be. Rhino is pretty good. Heath Slater has been pretty good in their comedic roles. If they're going to do some sort of Rocky-style toughening up of Heath Slater, it's already generating some kind of a giggle. I'll have to see how it plays out. I might be the only one in America, the only one in the world that is actually maybe looking forward to see where this goes. But, after them being away for so long and the tag team division being so stale, I will welcome anything. I don't care how similar it might be to the Fashion Police. The Fashion Police has run its course, and they did nothing with it. They didn't capitalize on it. Hopefully they do that here, and they establish Rhino and Slater as a tag team. Rhino deserves this last little run. Why not? Why not let him be the Raw Tag Team Champions one more time as well? They need more competition. It only makes sense. There are no tag teams on Monday Night Raw. That's why Heath Slater and Rhino were called to have this match in the first place. Because there just are no other tag teams. Gallows and Anderson were in the back. You think they would be the ones to come out and help Finn Balor when he's getting beat down, and you could have started the Balor Club, which would have been great. He's a one-man club. He comes out wearing the Balor Club Worldwide on the Titantron, but he's got no club. We're his club. The fans all over the world, we're the Balor Club. Why not take the ball and run with it? No, instead we get Hideo Itami. And we're going to get the relaunch of Slater and Rhino. Great. I'll take that over Hideo Itami, sadly enough. That's how frazzled they got my brain here in the WWE. That's how bad this show is. That this is the kind of stuff that I got to look forward to. These little crumbs that they're throwing out. Oh, here's maybe something different. Maybe I'll watch that. Oh. Wogan Matt Hardy presented the battlefield to Bray Wyatt. Now, here's an interesting tidbit. We didn't talk about Bray Wyatt's segment when it aired on this list, and there's a reason for that. In Bray Wyatt's segment, he kind of referenced Matt Hardy and playing chess. Now, Bray Wyatt's segment, like I said, was the first of the two segments. And then we would have Matt Hardy in his segment here being shown playing chess, which leads me to believe And considering everything else they both said in the wake of their promos, I think that they showed them backwards. I really do. I think they filmed them to be aired with Matt Hardy's played first and then Bray Wyatt's played second. But then realizing that in this scenario, everybody in the world is more waiting to see the Woken Matt Hardy character, they said, you know what, we'll put his segment on towards the end of the show. Which made the promos, as wild as they are and nonsensical as they are already, just feel slightly off to me. Like, I was listening, and from what I heard, either Bray Wyatt is now becoming psychic through Sister Abigail, or they decided to switch the edit. I'm telling you, if you go back and watch it, you will see what I'm saying. It's almost like Bray Wyatt was answering everything that Matt Hardy said later on in the evening, only he was first. Interesting. Essentially, this was the same thing that we've been getting. They're just spitting jargon back and forth to each other. We had Matt Hardy, at least this time, he was talking to Napoleon, his goldfish, which was, playing chess with a goldfish. That's where we're going. That seems about right. That's where we were in the Broken Universe, and I'm alright with it. It's great. I don't mind it. Bray Wyatt feeding off of this character, I think, is going to finally evolve into the potential that he actually can be. I don't know if I said that right, but if you understand what I mean, he's finally going to reach the potential that he's always had. I think that's the proper way I was trying to say that. Because he's never had a character, he's never had a person to work with who is almost the perfect match for him. I don't know, when they talk, I feel like I'm watching two Batman villains go at it. Like I'm Batman sitting in my chair, and I'm in my Batcave, and I got these two screens on, and I'm watching this fucking madman talk to this wild jerk, and I have to watch these two fight it out. And when they're done, I'm going to arrest them both. Because I'm Batman at the end of the day. Don't tell nobody. But still, very entertaining. I hope it starts to really open up, and that these rumors of them having this Wyatt family compound match and doing all this final deletion type stuff, I hope that's where we're headed. It's tiptoeing to that, but I can deal with that if that's going to be the end result. I just want them to get a little more, a little more into it. Let's get a little deeper into it. Don't take such tiny baby steps. Let's just take like footsteps. You know what I mean? We don't have to run to the finish line, but let's at least progress at a decent pace so that I don't fall asleep on my couch at 9 p.m. on a Monday night. Elias is in the ring, and he's going to sing a song. He's talking some shit about Tom Brady because we're in Rhode Island, which is New England, and everybody out there probably loves the Patriots. And then we would have Sasha Banks come out and interrupt him, and then the rest of the women would come out one at a time and interrupt Elias's segment with the guitar. Now, my problem is not that the women interrupted him. My problem is the fact that they booked Elias Sampson in an absolutely useless segment. He didn't wrestle in a match. He did not start or progress or continue a rivalry storyline. He sat out there to play guitar and be interrupted by a bunch of superstars who he can't get mad at. Not that he can't, I guess he can get mad at them because they're women, but he can't, start getting up and throwing people around, getting physical and getting pissed and hitting women with guitars. That's not where you can go with Elias. What the hell was that segment? At the end of the day, what was this whole show? What was this? I have no idea what I just watched for 3 hours. With the exception of the announcement of the Women's Royal Rumble. Elias is just being wasted. My whole Monday night tonight was wasted watching this shit. And I don't expect anything better from tomorrow night. I really don't. The wrestling quality of last night's Clash of Champions was very good. It made the show feel better than it was. But when you get right down to it, we're not headed in a good direction over there either. Shane McMahon's starting to let his McMahon out. But they're not acknowledging it. He's still the good guy in this scenario. And Daniel Bryan, the clear-cut good guy, is turning heel? I don't know. The only intriguing thing to look forward to tomorrow night. The rest is, it's like white noise. It's like just watching fuzz on your TV. Eventually, it starts to give you a headache and you just want to shut it off. That's what happened tonight. Certainly hope that doesn't happen tomorrow. Is there anything else I wanted to go over? I don't think so. Because tonight sucked. Tonight absolutely sucked. I'm sorry if you didn't like what I had to say about the whole women's thing. Like I said, I'm not against it. I'm going to enjoy it because I love a Royal Rumble. I just don't see the need for it right now. And I think it would be much greater if they waited a few years, really stocked up the roster with some real good talent so that you could blow the roof off of someplace and shock the world with a real quality Women's Royal Rumble. But instead we're getting a rushed Royal Rumble that's going to be filled with half rookies, half legends, and half current supers. I know you can't have three halves. I messed that up. But whatever. You understand where I'm going with it. It's going to be mostly rookies, a couple of legends, and then the rest of it's going to be filled out with your top female superstars. Somehow or another, Sasha Banks and Bayley and Charlotte and Becky are probably going to be your final four. Who knows? As long as it's not any one of the terrible ones, Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke, or any of the newbies, I guess we can't really complain. Odds-on favorite right off the bat, Nia Jax. Because who's going to get her out of the ring? But then, with the way they've been booking her, they'd probably just get her out first and foremost. And just get her out of the way. Because that's what we got to do. We got to get everything out of the way and have all these first evers. This way we can never truly have one later that might be epic. That's it. I can't talk about this shit anymore. Monday Night Raw was terrible. We had a lot of stuff on the channel this weekend. All kinds of wrestling updates going on. We talked about 2 former TNA World Heavyweight Champions on their way to the WWE and why I am absolutely pissed off about it. We had news on Just Incredible and how he went off the handle this weekend. If you don't know about that, you could check that out. And, of course, our Clash of Champions review and results, the preview and predictions. If you missed that, you can go back and watch that as well to see if I was right in all of my thoughts and all of my predictions that I put out there, which, of course, is up to you. Don't forget to keep your eyes glued to this channel for all of the best coverage in the world of professional wrestling. Please, if you enjoyed today's show and you are still here and it is 42 minutes deep, obviously you liked what I had to say, you were into the show, you loved every minute of it, and that means you should smash that thumbs up. Click that thumb for me, punch it right in the mouth, make sure he feels it, and make sure I feel it too by showing me the love, hitting that thumbs up, and of course, feel free to join the family. The Sledgehammer Club is always accepting new members. We have had a spike in subscribers. We are trying to hit 500 subscribers before the first and the end of 2017, which would be absolutely fantastic. I hope you guys can help me in that. So just hit that subscribe button. And then all you got to do is ring the bell. This way you will be notified every single time I drop a video just like this one right here on YouTube. Because I am here to bring you all the best in the world of professional wrestling. That is going to do it. That is going to do it. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is my little buddy, the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball. This has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV. Thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, Clutch Chairs. Follow me on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook. It's all there for you to check out. That is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, baby. The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Thank you so much. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live. Dig it.